Anthropic dropped Opus 4.7 today, their strongest model, well, technically, because users are already finding places where Opus 4.6 wins. OpenAI also pushed their first update to the Codex Super app, so let's get into it. Anthropic's latest model, Claude Opus 4.7, is finally out, and if you're familiar with the Anthropic model system, Opus is their top model, meaning you would use this model for the most complex tasks. Sonnet would be in the middle level, and Haiku would be for low level tasks. Now Opus 4.7 technically is Anthropic's strongest model, but we do know that Mythos Preview, which is one of their models that they have launched through a cybersecurity program, is obviously the top model, and throughout the blog post you're going to see that that's a common pattern. Every time they mention that Opus 4.7 is really good, they say technically yes, it's really good, but Mythos is better. You're going to see that repeated throughout the blog post because Anthropic is clearly betting big bucks on the Mythos Preview model to be a game changer, but Opus 4.7 is not bad, and we'll look at the updates and see what has improved. First thing you will know is that Opus 4.7 is supposed to be really good at software engineering. So Anthropic is still focused on coding tasks and especially software engineers, and they have beefed up this model to address that specific demand, and we're going to see that in the benchmarks because Opus 4.7 does improve from Opus 4.6, but it sits below Mythos Preview. As I mentioned, you're going to see that throughout the blog post, but let's look at the benchmarks to understand what actually improved with the model. So if we take a look at the benchmark, one thing that you'll notice is that across the board, Mythos model is going to be number 1 and Opus 4.7 sits at number 2 for most things compared to GPT 5.4 and Gemini 3.1 Pro, except for one specific section, which is agentic search, which GPT 5.4 for some reason is doing better than Opus 4.7. And what's more weird is that Opus 4.7 is actually worse compared to Opus 4.6. So agentic search is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. That's the capability that's being tested with this benchmark. Apparently, Anthropic decided that we're going to release our strongest model and have it do not the best on that anymore, and our older model is supposed to be better at that. I personally don't understand the logic behind that, but that's what the case is at the moment. But we can see, if we just compare it against the frontier model that are generally available, meaning these 4 sections over here, you'll see that in agentic coding, on terminal coding, reasoning, computer use, financial analysis, Opus 4.7 is clearly taking the lead across the board. There are some marginal improvements from Opus 4.6 in some areas, but overall Opus 4.7 is definitely Anthropic's most strongest model. And it seems like cybersecurity is a space that Anthropic is heavily focused on right now. So even during the release of the Opus 4.7, in their blog post, they have a section that basically says that Mythos, or preview model, is going to be the best at cybersecurity, and Opus 4.7 on purpose is not there. And what we're trying to do is use Opus 4.7 to train our Mythos model. If you were to read this section, this is what it reads at basically. And there's also an ability for people, security professionals who want to use Opus 4.7 for cybersecurity purposes. They can join their cyber verification program. And what they're going to do is use your research, use your capabilities that you discover in that program to beef up their upcoming model and beef up Mythos. So once again, Mythos is, I feel like, the model that they're fully focused on. Opus 4.7 seems like a stepping stone for them. They want to release a model, gather learnings from that model release, and beef up their upcoming model, Mythos. Couple of areas that Opus 4.7 got better in is number 1, instruction following, multimodal support, real-world work, and memory. So for instruction following, which is obviously very important because a lot of times when you're working with this model, you're prompting something to it and you're hoping that your prompt turns into the result that you're actually looking for. So that is a good improvement for Opus 4.7. It's supposed to also get better at multimodal support. So it has better vision for high resolution images. So it can take up to 2576 pixels on the long edge, which is about 3.7 megapixels, which is more than 3 times as many compared to prior Claude models. So you can, dump in more images in there to get your prompt. And as they say, an image is 1,000 words. So that's the rationale behind it. There's also real world work. So Opus 4.7 is trying to eliminate the financial analyst. So if you're a first year financial analyst, Opus 4.7 is coming for your job. I'm just kidding, but this model is supposed to get better at solving real world work in finance, legal, and areas like that. So it's coming for the white collar industry as well. It has obviously disrupted the software engineering industry, but now it's coming for the more corporate environment. Opus 4.7 is also better at memory. And why is because it's using a file system based memory. So it remembers important notes across, long multi-session workflows that you might have, and it's going to use them to move on to newer tasks that you might throw at it. And because of that, it needs less context at front because it can tap into the memory it has built using that file system base that it's working under. And if we look at the areas that it has improved in, so you can see long-term coherence, it's obviously better than the previous model. Even in coding, we see it's better. We can see it on the software bench, multilingual and multimodal. So in both areas, this model has improved. Then what's kind of cool, they threw in biology as well. So I guess they might be beefing up this model for future science work. So we can see that clearly because it's scoring 74% versus 30.9. We also have better document reasoning. Now, document reasoning is really important for these models because if you are working in a corporate environment, you might be throwing some PDFs at it, maybe some slide decks, and you're hoping that the model can finally understand the document at a better level compared to previous versions, which is a huge jump over here because 80.6 versus 57.1 is big. So we can see it's better than all the frontier models out there right now. And it's sitting at 80.6. So hopefully it's able to process documents at a better level and understand what's happening in there. Now, there's also a claim that it's supposed to be better at vision. So why is this important? If you have worked with these models, the way these models work is they produce something, let's say it programs something, and the way it tests itself is by taking screenshots of your output. And then it takes that output and puts it back into the model and understands what went well and what didn't go well. For example, if you did front-end work with it, it would take screenshots of your output of your web page, then feed that back into the model to make adjustments. So these models do need to get better at visual understanding because that's the system of how they reiterate themselves and produce better quality outputs. So visual navigation, according to this, is supposed to get better. And we can see that with tools and without tools. So in both areas, this model has gotten better. Now, when it comes to office tasks, so this is a task where like financial analysts, legal analysts, these tasks have gotten better. It's getting a 1753 versus 1619. Before that, GPT 5.4 was the model that led in this area, but Opus 4.7 has come in and taken the lead. One thing to mention is that Opus 4.7 and 4.6, when it comes to safety, they are pretty much aligned. Opus 4.7 has a slight improvement, but in some areas, they actually mentioned that Opus 4.6 is better, specifically in tendency to give overly detailed harm reduction advice on controlled substances, which is an area I guess Opus 4.6 was better at. They don't really, I guess, prioritize that for Opus 4.7. And one thing, as I mentioned, they're going to tell you that Opus 4.7 is not the best, and the best model that they have to the date is Mythos Preview. Now, I don't know why they want to keep mentioning that. Maybe to hype it up, maybe to hype up Mythos Preview, but whenever they drop Mythos Preview, if it doesn't live up to the hype that they're building up, it's going to be a huge disappointment for Anthropic. Couple of features that launch with the new model are effort controls. Now there's an extreme high effort, which kind of sits between high and max. And this effort control is actually the default when it comes to working with Opus 4.7 in Claude code. So that could be an issue because obviously you're going to use up a lot of tokens behind that. So, keep that in mind. There's also a ultra review command in Claude code. It basically summarizes everything that went through, all the changes, and flags any bugs and design issues that a normal reviewer who's actually paying attention to it at a closer level would highlight, which I think is a good feature because many times when you're working with these models, sometimes it feels like you're working in a black box environment. You give something, you don't really know what's happening underneath. So having something like Ultra Review, I guess, is a really important functionality improvement for a lot of developers. So these are some new features that, try it out for yourself. See if you enjoy working with the model with these new tools enabled. So overall, yes, this model is supposed to get better on a lot of things. We can see clearly like Opus 4.7 is going to be better when it comes to agentic coding performance by effort level on all of the effort levels. So that is expected. As I said, this model is not their best model. This is technically on paper the best model to the general public, but their best model is still Mythos Preview. Now they say that 4.6 is better than 4.7. However, what I've noticed based off of some posts on X is actually not true. So let me show you guys that. Before we continue, we just launched the Universe of AI newsletter. If you want to stay on top of AI news without having to hunt for it, link is in the description. Don't miss out. In the blog post, we saw that the new model Opus 4.7 is supposed to be better at vision, and we can see that that's actually a claim that Claude actually tweeted, which was saying that it has substantially better vision. It can see images at more than 3 times the resolution and produce higher quality interfaces, slides, and docs because of that. But we're kind of seeing in actual use, obviously these are some tests, this might not be the case for everyone, but based on this person's test, Chetasula, what he noticed was that when he gave the model a colorblind test, so this image over here is actually supposed to be 74, but the model is reading it as 26. Now what's really interesting is that when he gave the same test to Opus 4.6, the model was actually able to solve it. Like Opus 4.6, it figured out it was 74, not 26 or whatever the other model said, which is kind of funny because the new model is supposed to be better. So we're seeing mixed reviews. Some people are really happy with the new model. Some people are like, okay, this model is meh. It's not a great update, but that's where it is. Maybe you guys do your own test. Let me know what you guys think. You can say in the comment, are you happy with the 4.7 drop or not? So OpenAI didn't want Anthropic to take all the spotlight. They wanted to steal some of that back from them. And what they did instead was that they dropped a new update to Codex, and they're calling it now Codex for almost everything. So when Codex first came out, it was supposed to be mainly a software development tool. What they're trying to do right now is kind of turn Codex into something similar to Claude Cowork / Claude Code. They're trying to create that super app, and I believe this is their first step in doing that. And the new features that it has added is basically it can now operate your computer alongside you. So you can be doing something else. It can have background computer use. So Codex can use all of the apps on your computer. It will click, it will type in it with its own cursor, and multiple agents will be working on your Mac in parallel. So you can be continuing to work on your MacBook. Hopefully it doesn't heat up your MacBook. I don't know. I haven't tried it out, but maybe that could be the case. And it's not supposed to apparently interfere with your work. Hopefully it doesn't slow down your applications. But this is specifically geared towards developers because they want to make sure that this is helpful for them when they are making changes to their software. So when they're working on front end changes, when they're testing apps or working in apps that, don't expose an API, they're trying to use this computer use to solve that issue. The new app is also supposed to help you work better with the web. It has an in-app browser where you can comment directly on pages. For example, if you look at this example, let's say you didn't like the font of this specific front-end design, you can say reduce the font, tagline length, whatever the case is. And it's supposed to do a better job at understanding your comments and what's happening on screen and make those changes. What they're trying to do is eventually expand it so Codex can fully command the browser and it doesn't only have to use the localhost feature. Now, this section I think is really cool is because we know that they shut down Sora, but they're not done updating their models when it comes to image models. They're using GPT Image 1.5 to generate and iterate on images, and this is supposed to help with screenshots as well code. It's supposed to help create visuals for product concepts, front-end design, mock-ups, and game. So instead of having a dedicated platform like Sora where they just, kind of put the image section isolated, they brought it into one app, and that is their GPT image models. And we're kind of seeing leaks online as well that they're kind of gearing up to drop a new GPT image model, GPT image 2, and is pretty strong based on the results we have seen. So we can see that they're bringing it into this super app by allowing you to use that new model to update your front-end designs, create better mockups, and maybe create games with them inside the app. They're also expanding their plugin section by adding additional 90 of them. It's supposed to include skills, app integrations, MCP servers, things even like the Microsoft Suite. So you can clearly see that they're trying to push it beyond just coding. So that's their big idea. But I still believe that this is still very software development focused because we can see these integrations like GitHub Lab Issues, CodeRapid, Jira, all of these are not being used by a white collar worker. This is more still just the software development era, but they're trying to just stop software developers from using just Codex for coding, but also for fixing code, managing GitHub PRs and everything. And we can see that from this because they still are betting big money on the software development lifecycle. It now has support for GitHub review comments. It can also run multiple terminal tabs, and it can connect to remote dev boxes. It also lets you open up files directly in the sidebar, which has your PDF, spreadsheets, slides, and docs. So you can use that as a place to track, your agent plans, sources, and artifacts, which I think is interesting because, they're showing a demo of GitHub issues and they're showing how you can put it in a spreadsheet. So I guess that's cool. Now, another cool thing is that they've also expanded their automation capability. So Codex can now schedule future work for itself, and it can wake itself up automatically to continue on long-term tasks across days or weeks, which I think is really interesting because your computer can basically be working in the background while you could be, just having fun, drinking some coffee by the porch, whatever it is. But they're saying that teams are using automations from everything like landing open pull requests to following up on tasks and staying on top of fast-moving conversations across tools like Slack, Gmail, and Notion. So they're really trying to make it a employee that's kind of holding people accountable, if using automations to open pull requests and everything like that. So that's the future with the Codex update. But one thing to note that this is still the beginning. This is not their end goal. Their goal right now, you can see, is that AGI benefits all of humanity. So that includes narrowing the gap between what people can imagine and what they can build. So this is still going to be development focused, but over time in the long run, they want to bring this closer to, more people that might not just be software developers. We see Anthropic has done a good job of that because of the Claude co-work feature that they've added is being useful in environments that are like the white collar environment for financial analysts, legal analysts, teams like that. Codex, I feel, is not there yet. They have really bet big on software development cycle, and that's what they're targeting. But I feel that in the future, they're going to have to push their application to a wider audience. Maybe that is in the plans, but based on this, it feels like that's still a little bit farther away. So we shall see. But that's it for today's video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Follow our new newsletter as well at universeofai.beehive.com. As well, subscribe to the main channel World of AI and support us on X by following the Universe of AIZ as well. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.